Hi everybody, Jake here for FMSCOUT, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you guys a team of Wonderkids that you can sign for under £10 million. So that's 11 Wonderkids, one for each position, all combined will be less than £10 million. So imagine you've got a £10 million budget, you can sign all these guys I suppose. Some are for lower level quality teams, some are really high level, so hopefully there's someone in here for everyone, different price ranges, all that good stuff, but every single one of these players can go on to be an absolute superstar. So with that being said, let's get right into these players. Hi everybody, Jake here for FMSCOUT, and as I mentioned in that intro, today we're going to be looking at 11 Wonderkids that you can sign for a combined total of under £10 million, so it's a full Wonderkid 11. All of these players are different price ranges, different skill levels, and can all go to varying levels of quality, but all of them are certainly worth the initial value that you'll pay for them. If you can't find some of these players in your save, chances are you haven't got the league loaded, but most of them I've tried to look for players that are in leagues that hopefully you will all have in your databases. And before we get started, I'd just like to ask you guys, if you do enjoy this kind of content, if you just want to be awesome and help us spread this video out, then hit the like button on the video, it would really mean a lot. Comment down below your favourite player from this list or someone we should have included. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, as we try and hit 130,000 subscribers. It'll be great if we can reach that goal soon. And finally, don't worry, I'm almost done, but if you want to check out my channel, you can find that linked in the description. We've got a Wolfsburg save going on over there alongside some other rebuild videos, so if you want to check that out, that would mean a lot to me. But with that being said, we've got to start with a goalkeeper, haven't we? Okay, Wonderkid number 1 is our goalkeeper. It's Juan Diego Castillo. Now, if you've ever watched me do these videos, you know that I find it quite hard to find Wonderkid goalkeepers that I can actually talk about, but I think this guy definitely represents value for money. The 18-year-old Colombian, though, is a very nice player at 18 years of age, 6'3", left-footed, with nice physicals, mentals that need working on, and some nice goalkeeping attributes. To start with, it's very hard to find a goalkeeper who's just ready-made for the first team. You don't often see 17, 18-year-old goalkeepers playing for anyone's first team in the top 5 major leagues. However, Juan Diego Castillo definitely has the potential to reach a super high level. And one thing to note as well before we get into every single player, the values obviously can change from save to save depending on a player's attributes and potential ability, but just as a general rule of thumb, most of these players can be bought for what I'm suggesting in the video. So here, I could tell you that we signed this guy for 250,000, but I've tried and I got him for about £1 million in this save. So let's say £1 million for our goalkeeper. He plays for Fortaleza FC in the Colombian South American North Division. So I would say he's one of the few players in this list that I think might be in a league that there's a chance you won't have it loaded, but if you do, definitely worth picking up, let him develop, and eventually he'll either be a very good backup goalkeeper for you or a starter, depending what level club you have. Okay, moving on to our left back, and we have got Valentin Barco of Boca Juniors under-20 team. Obviously, this is an Argentinian club, it's an Argentinian youngster, and for a 16-year-old, he is awesome. We've got a Wolfsburg save going on my channel linked in the description, and he is someone that our scouts have recommended very highly, and you can see why. I think he'd make a very good player for our team, and in fact any team really, and he's actually going to be one of the most expensive players in this side. I find it hard to find a cheap left back who I can really show off and say, yeah, he's quality, but I think Valentin Barco is certainly someone who is of that ilk. At 16 years of age, he's got great physical attributes. Yes, a bit of work is needed in some of the more strengthy based ones and the jumping reach stuff, but that will develop over time. He's got raw speed and natural fitness as well as some nice agility. He's going to be very good at bombing forward, which is why he's so versatile on that left hand side. Technically awesome with 15 free kicks, plenty of good attributes with crossing, dribbling, first touch, tackling at a super high level as well, so he can do the defensive side of your game. The main problem you're going to get with him are his mentals. At least in this save, his determination is super low. Hopefully you can mental that out of him. Hopefully it's a bit random and isn't that in every single save, but if it is, you can definitely still get a good player out of this guy because he's already starting at a very high level and he's got some other nice mentals to build up from. But if you're talking about determination, flair, leadership, yeah, they're not the best, but you kind of take it and leave it with a 16-year-old. He's got plenty of time to develop, looks like a very good prospect straight away, and we're going to put him in our team at around 2.5 million, midway point between the two values that Boca are suggesting here. Okay, now moving on to the other flank, our right back, and we've so far spent £3.5 million, I think we can say, and this guy is going to cost you only £875,000, a minimum release clause. It's Xavi. Unfortunately, not the central midfielder who tore it up for years for Barcelona. It is actually a player at Levante B, a 16-year-old Spaniard who at 6'4" is almost certainly not really going to be a right back I would probably suggest he'll end up getting used in the centre-back role, although he does lack in some of the attributes needed for that area. I can't lie, out of everyone on this list, he's probably the one that I wouldn't recommend as highly, but I still think because of his potential range, he can go very far. So I would suggest with this guy, if you have the money and you want to pick him up and your scouts recommend him highly, pick him up. Don't use him straight away, let him develop a little bit, focus on the areas in his development, in his training that you think are weak for whatever position you want to use him. For example here, if I decided I want to use him as a centre-back, I'm looking at his marking being fairly low, maybe his anticipation, that kind of thing. The things that I would like to improve, concentration, for example, in a centre-back. So I'd be looking to use him there. But at the end of the day, he's 16, he's got plenty of room to grow. You can do what you want with him. Doesn't cost you too much, definitely one to maybe develop and use in the future, or at least sell on for a profit when he reaches some of that potential. Okay, moving on to our two centre-backs, our centre-back pairing, and the first one is actually someone who featured on the equivalent video we did of this for FM21. He's still very good, still great value for money. It's Max Norman Williamson of Kristiansund in Norway, although he is on loan at the start of your guys' saves to Levanger FK, again in Norway, but in a lower division, I believe. So what you want to do with this guy, because he is on loan, is just scout him out, wait a little bit. You can actually make your offer over the top of what he's doing currently, but I think let him have his loan year, see how he gets on, then try and sign him. He's clearly already good enough for the Norwegian first division, I would say, attribute-wise. The fact that he's on loan in a lower division might actually be a little bit of a waste, but I think straight off the bat, for £1 million, let's say we pay his maximum, £1 million, we are looking at a player who physically is looking good, 6'3" with a nice player trait, right-footed only, not too slow either. Yes, he needs a bit of work in the strength department, but with that jumping reach, as he gets older, he's going to be a very big threat at set pieces with his 11 heading, 15 tackling as well is very good, 11 marking is nice to have. And then mentally, he's got some nice defending attributes with positioning, bravery and aggression and bravery actually in particular at a very high level. Some areas that you need to work on, as it will be with many of these players. There's a reason why they're not 30 million players straight off the bat, but Max Norman Williamson is someone who I think in only a year or two of development can be ready for a top 5 league team lower down if you get him to a decent level. And if you are a bigger team, then keep him in that squad and eventually he will be a big contributor for your side. So far from the players we've picked, it's added up to just over £5 million, so we need someone to save us a little bit of money, and that's what we're going to do with our next centre-back, who comes super cheap. And it is of course my lifesaver when it comes to videos like this, going over to the Syrian divisions and picking one of the fair few, to be honest, Syrian Wonderkids in Football Manager. Today we're using Ali Rayner as our centre-back option. He's costing pennies pretty much compared to what some other players cost. And he starts off with arguably better attributes than some. You think what that Xavi looked like at 16, the Levante B player, and compare him to Ali Rayner. I know they're different positions, but straight off the bat, Ali Rayner is not really lacking particularly in any physical area too much for a 17-year-old. Yes, he's not super standout in either area at all, but it's a good base set to build up from. He's got a perfectionist personality with 18 determination, some nice mentals, a good base set to build from, and again the same with technicals, not lacking in an area majorly. He's not amazingly good in a different area either, he's just very good all round and allows you to develop him a hell of a lot. I mean, what more can I say about this player? If he's in your save, you have to pick him up for this much because you're going to sell him on for 10 times the profit minimum. I genuinely think at full development you can be looking at £10 million plus for Ali Rayner if you're going to sell him on, arguably even more if you keep on using him, and this initial outlay for something so good, I mean, he's got to be bought, isn't he? 17-year-old Syrian, Ali Rayner, playing for Al Ittihad in the Syrian Premier League. Definitely someone to sign if you have that league loaded. And I will always say, Syrian Premier League, there's at least 3 or 4 very cheap Wonderkids. Not top-tier Wonderkids, but Wonderkids that will be good enough for some of your guys' clubs that might not be able to attract the top-tier players. Okay, moving on to our 2 central midfielders. We're going for a 4-2-3-1 standard formation, and we have gone for Junior Beta as our central midfielder. He's the more defensive-minded of the players we have there, and is a great player at 16 years of age. He's playing for Athletic Bilbao, however it looks like he's been sent out to what might be an affiliate or maybe a second, third team for Bilbao. I'm not overly sure on it. Do let me know in the comments if you know the answer, but he's playing for Baskonia. However, I've seen if you go a year or so into the future, he is at Bilbao, so I assume this is some kind of temporary thing and they just promote him to the first team at some point. It doesn't say on loan, so I assume it must be some kind of development club for them. But the 16-year-old Ivorian is a very nice player, I think, particularly when it comes to technical attributes that he'll need for that midfield role. Great first touch, passing, tackling technique. However, the kicker with Junior Beta is the fact that he's very good at certain things and not great at others, so he will need a little bit of work. But again, he's 16, physically he's fine, he just needs a bit of development in the strength department and the fitness department, which he'll get as he develops. But he is fairly quick, nice determination to go with as well, good decision making, pretty much that's all you're looking at here, but he's not going to cost you too much. He's only going to cost you 450,000 as an initial outlay, and he has the potential to be one of the better midfielders in world football if he really does reach his peak. I think he's great value for money, definitely someone to keep an eye on. Starts with some very nice attributes. Maybe scout him, see what he looks like at 18 years of age, decide if you want to pick him up then. But this release clause won't last for a long time, so make sure you check it out. If you want him, sign him, and he can really contribute to your guys' teams. Okay, so far our players have added up to around £6 million, and this guy is someone that, even though he's not the cheapest, I had to get him in this team because I'll shout about this guy to the heavens until you all sign him. It's Kasper Kozlowski of Pogoń Szczecin. They're a team in the Polish first division, I believe. Let me just double check that. Yes, they are. They're in the first division, and he is a super good player for a very minimal outlay for the player you're getting straight from the bat. Unlike some of the others, Kasper Kozlowski is actually ready for many first teams purely based on his attributes. He's 17 years of age, already has 5 national appearances for Poland at the start of your guys' saves. Physically an all-rounder who has plenty of room to grow. At 17 years of age, by the time he's 21, he's going to be a completely different player. Mentally is his strongest area because he is absolutely killing it in pretty much every single attribute. And then technically he's not lacking either. Good passing, good technique, nice long shots, nice first touch, nice dribbling. In his years of development that he's going to have, you can either focus on the weak points of his game or really just enhance the things that he's already very good at, which is, by the looks of it, playmaking. You can play him a bit further forward too, but for around £2 million I've been able to sign him for. Not to plug it too much, but he is in our Wolfsburg save, like he was my first signing. I loaded the Polish first division just to bring him in because I knew for a couple £1 million this guy is going to be revolutionary for our team. Definitely within a few years, and straight away he's already contributed in our first season in a Wolfsburg team in the Bundesliga, so I think he's very good. If you do want to check out that save, feel free to check it out in the description. Trying to get 6,000 subscribers over there. But Kasper, please sign him. If you've got the Polish division loaded, please sign him. You will not regret it, I promise you that. Okay, moving into our advanced free midfielders behind the striker, and the first player we're using is Chucky. The 17-year-old Spaniard plays for Real Valladolid, their B team. They are a team in the second division, I believe. Yeah, so second division of Spain. And I mean, I don't need to explain it too much to you guys. For me, 16 plus attributes are blue in Football Manager. Chucky 17, he's already got a hell of a lot of them already. Physically is probably the only area where he lacks a little bit, but at a young age of 17, he's going to develop. Technically, he is gifted as hell, guys. 16 finishing, 16 first touch, 16 passing, 15 technique, great determination, nice mental attributes, and even better than that, he has a release clause of £1.6 million. So providing you're a club that you wouldn't mind moving to, Valladolid can do nothing to stand in your way at the start of a save of picking him up. So I really like this guy. He is such a top draw, silky, quality player, definitely someone to keep an eye on. Now I know a lot of you are probably thinking, if anyone's keeping count, with Chucky we're on about £9.6 million I think in terms of player value so far, or maybe 8.6, one of the two. Either way, we might end up just going past the 10 million mark, but you can forgive me for the fact that some of these transfer values that I'm giving you, you can negotiate it way better. They're all within a range, so don't give me too much hate in the comments. At the end of the day, I'm not going to call it under £10.25 million Wonderkid team, you know what I mean? Right, so anyway, with that explained, we'll move on to our couple of wingers that we have and then our striker, who all represent amazing value for money. Okay, so final 3 players, and one of our wingers that we are going to use is Yerson Chacon. He's an 18-year-old Venezuelan, and again, maybe one of the few in the list that you might not have his league loaded, but definitely worth pointing out to you that might have him in your save. You can sign him for around £400,000-ish. He plays for Deportivo Táchira in the Venezuelan Premier Division, and I don't really need to say too much about him. He's not world class straight away, let's be real, but he definitely has the potential to be. At 18 years of age, you can play either wing, and he looks like a player that has been playing that position for 10-15 years, not an 18-year-old, because physically, very quick, nice and all-round, has got everything he needs physically already, really, and he's only going to develop. Mentally, some nice attributes to build up from, nothing where he's lacking majorly, and then technically, great dribbler, great first touch, good technique, maybe needs a bit of work in the passing or finishing department, but he can cross. Definitely a very useful winger. Wanted at the start of your save by Charlotte FC, which goes to show the kind of calibre of club you'd need to be to bring him in. Basically, it doesn't have to be the highest level club in the world to sign Yerson Chacon. However, I believe at full development, it will be your PSGs and your Bayern Munichs and your Man U's that will come and try and sign this guy off you if you develop him right and use him to his full potential. Okay, our other winger in this team is someone that when I was making this list, I looked at him and I didn't even think of looking at his value because I just assumed Dynamo Zagreb, 18-year-old youngster who has really good attributes, he's going to be 15-20 million pounds, right? No. Dynamo Zagreb will accept around £1 million, at least in this save, for Ivan Soranic, an 18-year-old Croatian who can play that inverted winger position perfectly, left-footed, on the right-hand side, and technically this guy is gifted as anything really. I mean, great crosser, great dribbler, really nice first touch, great free kicks, long shots, passing, penalties, techniques, and with corners as well. This guy's going to be your set piece taker and just a player that dictates the ball. Once it comes on the right hand side, he's going to be looking to push it onto his left and whip it in. He likes to move into channels, shoot from distance, place his shots, curls ball, cut inside from right wing. Too many player traits almost for an 18-year-old. Sports Interactive must really rate this guy to give him so many traits from the off. Balanced personality as well is nothing to shy away from. Physically, he needs a little bit of work if he was going to be a winger and be super effective at breaking down the wing, but I think the fact that he's cutting in, he doesn't need to be super pacey. Just a little bit of more development in these physicals, you'll be fine. And mentally, a similar story. Nothing to stand out mentally other than some really nice flair, but he will get better over time, and with them technicals, you can't complain for £1 million to have this guy. Easily championship level player straight away, maybe even lower Premier League level player after a little bit of development, and then who knows, once he's at max growth, definitely someone who can contribute to a top 6 Premier League side, no doubt about it in my eyes. So Dynamo Zagreb in Croatia, pick Ivan Soranic up if you can, because he will be awesome on that right wing for you. Okay, final player, we finally made it through the whole list. Thank you to anyone who's still with us. If you have enjoyed it so far, hit the like button. But we are looking at Sufania Muenta. He's an 18-year-old striker from Thailand who already has 7 national appearances and 3 goals. You can sign him from Buriram United in Thailand, and I actually really like this guy, not just because he has good potential, but he starts off really, really good. I honestly, I don't know how he's still hiding in the divisions out in Thailand. You'd assume he would have been picked up by a bigger club by now, no offence to anyone who is a fan of Buriram United, but physically this guy is fine, needs a little bit of work in some areas, but you know, it's all good. Mentally, he really excels with great determination, really good mental attributes at the top here, nice flair as well, and then it keeps going with even better mental attributes as we continue down the list of them. And then you think, well, maybe he must be rubbish technically. No, I mean, this guy can finish, he can dribble, he's got good first touch, he can take penalties, he's got nice technique, not the world's best passer, but he's a striker after all. Develop his speed a little bit maybe, his movement a little bit more, get him in behind and he will score goals for you. He's not the tallest in the world. Definitely a really good player. I don't know how he's been hiding out here for so long. I really like him. Someone that I haven't actually used yet in Football Manager, but attribute wise looks like he should be great, and someone that I'll try and pick up if I ever do a lower league save. I might just load the Thailand divisions just to try him out. But yeah, Buriram United, they're in the Toyota Thai League, if that means anything to anyone. Definitely worth keeping an eye on, definitely worth signing in my eyes. For around £1 million, he's a very good pickup. That brings our team total to, I don't know, you guys do the math, but something like £10.5 million, I hope, or maybe 11 million. Either way, hopefully you can see the value in some of these amazing Wonder Kids. I love them all, I think they're all great. Let me know your favourite down below and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I've been Jake for FM Scout, and I'll see you next time, guys. Goodbye.